Greetings, welcome back to Old Ways Rising Farm YouTube channel. This video is a follow along on an earlier video we did, this spring, way early this spring. This has been more than 6 months ago when we set this up. And we are going to be looking at some more mushroom cultivation. So I will put a link up at the top of the screen to the earlier video where we were working with some of these hemlock slabbing pieces and the Hemlock Reishi mushroom, okay? Which is a really interesting mushroom. It's not so much something you eat for dinner, it's something that's used for, teas and medicinal interests. But we inoculated these pieces of slabbing with it by drilling holes, stuffing them full of spawn, screwing them together. They've been sitting in a damper corner of the barn for the intervening time, and now we're going to take them, we're going to look at all of these cultures, and we're going to see what grew, what didn't. We're going to plant these. Okay. Now, one of the things that's hard about this is to know how it's really growing, right? Taking them apart is going to disturb everything. What you're looking for as a good sign that there is active growth inside of these logs are these white spots here at the end. You can especially see it here, where you have little white mycelium sticking out the end, near where we put some of those inoculant plugs, okay, and coming out through. That's a very good sign. But there's a caveat with that. Pretty much all mushrooms look like white mycelium sticking out the end of the log. So just because you see sign of active fungal growth doesn't necessarily mean it's the one that you planted, right? You can have weed fungi grow in a log the same way that you can have weed plants grow in your garden patch, okay? But the other caveat, this is hemlock and very little grows on it, right? So that could be mold, it could be the fungus we want, it could be something else, but there's a very, very good chance that it is the fungus that we planted because we used a very large inoculum, okay? And the hemlock is a selective medium anyway, okay? So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to kick these off, is this fungus likes to grow in logs that are partially buried. So I've been working on a trench. Yet another Old Ways Rising video with me in a trench. Seems to be a thing. Okay. And just got to clean this out a little bit more. Okay. Then we're going to roll these down in. So you can see I've already got one here. Partially buried, planted like that. I've got this one. And what's going to happen, assuming that we have the correct fungus, is that the soil being up on these is going to help keep them moist, and the fungi will come along, they will penetrate the side of the logs, and this will all be united together into one big colony. And these fungi want that to happen before they start producing fruiting bodies. Okay? So that's going to take another year or even 2 years. This is not a fast process. Go. There's another section of trench for another board. Try to get it in nice and close. Dirt in there. Okay. There we go. We got the next one, so on and so forth. So, I will finish this up, then we'll join again in just a moment. So there's the start of our little mushroom raft planting. Not a whole lot to it. The actual process of doing this is really, really simple. I have a couple more that I need to bring up from their little hidey hole and stick in here. A couple more slabs of slabbing to inoculate. Okay, so this will grow a bit, and in future years we'll see how it does. But before we part company for the day, when I did this initial video, I also did, just for the sake of experimentation to see what sort of spawn these Hemlock Reishis could tolerate, I made some cardboard spawn and some sawdust spawn, just to see how it would work. So I'm just going to dump these here on this bed, and we'll see if there's anything in here. And as I'm dumping out the sawdust, this hemlock sawdust, nothing grew. Okay? So the sawdust attempt did not work. But this cardboard spawn did. Okay? So if you look here, where we had these original little pats of spawn there, it has spread out and made little colonies of the Hemlock Reishi mycelium. Okay? So this was successful. You can see how slow growing it is, right? So we can presume from some of the mycelium on the end of these logs that some of this is starting to expand in here, but this is an extremely slow growing species. So there, that layer worked. This layer didn't really grow. This layer didn't really grow. That layer grew. Okay. And this bottom layer grew some. Okay. So that was about a 50-50 on that. So we're just gonna let this sit and live in there. I don't know if that's gonna contribute anything to this project, but it's the same fungus, so it certainly ain't gonna hurt. Okay. We're gonna let this go. We're gonna build out on it a little bit here over the course of the next year or two as I have more slabbing to run with. I'm just gonna exhaust my supply of spawn, see how this goes. And in future years, when there's something to show, you'll see us back here at this little mushroom garden on Old Ways Rising Farm.